Well, hello and how are you? Hey friends, welcome to the Shen Show. I am your host, Shenandoah Briscoe, coming to you from right here in St. Charles, Missouri. That's right. Hey, today is Saturday, May 23rd, 2021. Got a happy birthday shout out to Kaylee Turner, who just made it in under the wire. That's right, we befriended each other. I knowed Kaylee for a long time, knowed her mother for a way long time, and I knowed her daddy just a little bit because her daddy and my brother went to school together. But anyway, we befriended each other last Sunday at the baby shower that I went to. Remember I mentioned that I went to a baby shower for my son and little Leroy? Well, that's right. And, well, Kaylee said she wanted to talk some more, and, well, I sent her a friend request, and she accepted my friend request, and now we are talking. Well, we're not actually talking yet, but then again, this is her birthday, and, well, she's got a birthday song coming to her, and so here it is. Hey, Kaylee, hey, I heard it's your birthday today, so happy birthday, I'ma say. You know, you're 1 more year older today, so happy birthday to you, I said. I said, hey, Kaylee, hey, I heard it's your birthday today. Well, that's another trip around the sun that you made. Well, I hope you're enjoying your very special day because, well, it's your happy birthday day. Well, happy birthday to you, Kaylee. Hey, yeah, all right. Then I got my pokey pal, Amanda Sue Little, and my Shen Show steerer, Steve Clary. Now, I don't have a bunch of Shen Show friends today because, well, I didn't have time to prepare for the show. I had that barbecue. Remember, I had the skaters group coming over and we was barbecuing and whatnot. Well, it happened today, and we did it, and we had some barbecue, and some deviled eggs, and some mashed taters, or not mashed tater salad, and some barbecue pork steak, and some, not Polish sausages, but the other ones, bratwursts. That's right, barbecue bratwurst. And some barbecue vegetables. Yes, sirree. Anyway, that being said, how about a weather report? Weather report for the St. Charles viewing area for the next 5 days is going to be brought to you today by Refreshing Word Fellowship Church. Refreshing Word Fellowship Church is located at 2054 Campus Drive in St. Charles, Missouri at 63301 zip code. That would be on the west side of Campus Drive. Just remember that the east side is where St. Andrew's Plaza sits. Alright, how about that weather report? Weather report coming up to you. Oh, no wonder my thingy ain't working. My clicker ain't a-clicking. There we go. Now she's a-clicking. Alright, weather report coming up. Hello, partly cloudy skies. With for the remainder of the day, lows around 62 degrees Fahrenheit overnight, with winds light and variable. Couldn't have had a more pleasant day for this barbecue. Boy, I tell you what, nice warm day, not a whole lot of sunshine. Got some shade trees out in my backyard. Come in quite handy. It was a beautiful day. Didn't get too much sun, not even on the back of my neck when I turned around. Alright, hey, that being said, tomorrow, Sunday, we're going to have temperatures, Sunday, that's May 23rd, that is, intervals of clouds and sunshine. Highs around 89 degrees Fahrenheit with winds southwest at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Mostly cloudy skies early, and then partly cloudy after midnight. Low temperatures, around 66 degrees Fahrenheit overnight. Winds are going to be light and variable. And then for Monday, May the 24th, partly cloudy skies, highs around 88 degrees Fahrenheit, with winds southwest at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Considerable cloudiness with low temperatures around 69 degrees Fahrenheit, and winds are going to be south to southwest at 5 to 10 miles per hour. And then for Tuesday, May the 25th, more clouds than sun, and a stray shower or thunderstorm is quite possible. High temperatures around 82 degrees Fahrenheit with winds southwest at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Partly cloudy skies with late night showers or thunderstorms. Low temperatures of 68 degrees Fahrenheit overnight, with winds south to southwest at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Wednesday, May the 26th. Variable cloudiness with scattered thunderstorms. Highs around 82 degrees Fahrenheit, and winds are going to be west to southwest at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Chances of rain 50%. Partly to mostly cloudy with a chance of thunderstorms with low temperatures around 67 degrees Fahrenheit overnight. Winds are going to be light and variable. Chances of rain 40%. And then for our final 5-day forecast day, Thursday, May the 27th. Scattered thunderstorms, especially in the afternoon. Highs around 84 degrees Fahrenheit with winds south to southwest at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Chances of rain 40%. Variable cloudiness with scattered thunderstorms. Lows around 63 degrees Fahrenheit. And winds are going to be southwest at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Your chances of rain overnight 40%. Alrighty, my friends, that does finish up your 5-day forecast for the St. Charles viewing area. Alright, I think we're going to sing a couple songs. We're going to do Chris Christopherson, Dead Dad Day. Chris Christopherson. Well, she would meet me in the morning on my way down to the river, waiting patient by the China berry tree, with her feet already dusty from the pathway to the levee, and her little blue jeans rolled up to her knees. And I paid her no attention as she tagged along beside me, trying hard to copy everything I did. But I couldn't keep from smiling when I'd hear somebody saying, "Look yonder, there goes Jody and the kid." Well, even after we grew older, we could still be seen together as we walked along the levee holding hands. For as surely as the seasons, she was changing to a woman, and I'd lived long enough to call myself a man. And she'd often lay beside me in the coolness of the evening, till the morning sun was shining on my bed. And at times when she was sleeping, I would smile when I'd remember how they used to call us Jody and the kid. Now the world is a little older, and the years have changed the river, 'cause there's houses where there didn't used to be. And on Sundays I go walking down the pathway to the levee with another little girl who follows me. Well, and it makes the old folks smile as she tags along beside me, doing little things just the way her mama did. But it gets a little lonesome when I hear somebody saying, "Looky yonder, there goes Jody and the kid." Alright. Hey, that's a sappy song. We can quit crying. Blubber, get your rubber gloves on and your Kleenexes and get done with that song. We're moving on to the next one. 1, 2, 3, 4. Busted flat in Baton Rouge, I headed for the train, feeling nearly faded as my jeans. Well, Bobby thumbed diesel down just before it rains. Tickets all the way to New Orleans. Well, I pulled my harpoon out of my dirty red bandana, and I was blowing her sad while Bobby sang the blues. Oh, with them windshield wipers slapping time and Bobby clapping hands, we finally sang up every song that driver knew. Freedom's just another word for nothing left to lose. Nothing ain't worth nothing, but it's free. And feeling good was his Lord when Bobby sang the blues. Feeling good was good enough for me. Good enough for me and Bobby McGee. Well, from the coal mines of Kentucky to the California sun, Bobby shared the secrets of my soul. Standing right beside me through everything I'd done, and every night she kept me from the cold. I lived somewhere near Salinas, Lord, I let her slip away, looking for that home I hope she'd find. And I'd trade all my tomorrows for a single yesterday, holding Bobby's body next to mine. And freedom's just another word for nothing left to lose. Nothing ain't worth nothing, but it's free. And feeling good was easy, Lord, when Bobby sang the blues. Feeling good was good enough for me. Good enough for me and Bobby McGee. La-da-da-da-da-da, la-da-da-da-da. La-da-da-da-da, Bobby McGee. Yeah, la-da-da-da-da-da, la-da-da-da-da, la-da-da-da-da-da-da, la-da-da-da-da-da-da, la-da-da-da-da, Bobby McGee. All right. Hey, looks like it's story time with, well, let's see, it's story time with TV Grandpa Shen. That's right, TV Grandpa Shen is ready for story time. That's right. Everybody grab the kids, bring them on in around the old television. That's right, TV Grandpa. All right, hey, we got a sponsor today for story time. It's going to be Thankfulness by Jamie Christopher. Thankfulness by Janie Christopher. That's an N-E-Y, not an M-E-Y. All right. Available at Amazon.books. That's right. It's a telltale story about doves, fawn, and indigo who long for a family. While they plead with God in prayer, and a horrible storm arises and in the park in which they live. And there are a lot of other colorful birds in that there park, but they have all sheltered through the storm with the help of God. Each of them takes their turn thanking God for his protection during the storm. What could this mean for Fawn and Indigo's prayer for a family? Well, will they have anything to be thankful for? Well, these questions and more will be answered by purchasing the book Thankfulness by Janie Christopher. Alrighty then, hey, we're going to do the celebrated jumping frog of Calvers County. It's a Mark Twain story. It's a long one, so be prepared. Hopefully I won't go to sleep on you like I did the other day. Sorry. I apologize. I really do. I'm sorry. Y'all beat me up for falling asleep, but you don't know what I've been through that day when I was sleeping. I was tired. We're going to get through it, though. Should I start with a yawn? I don't want to start with a yawn. No, don't want to start the story with a yawn. That's not the place to start. In compliance with the request of a friend of mine who wrote me from the East, I called on good-natured, glorious old Simon Wheeler and inquired after my friend's friend, Lenodius W. Smiley, as requested I to do. And I hereunto append the result. I have a lurking suspicion that Lenodius W. Smiley is a myth, and that my friend never knew such a personage, and that he was only conjured that if I'd asked old Wheeler about him, I would remind him of his infamous Jim Smiley, and he would go to work and bore me to death with some exasperating reminiscence of him, as long as tedious as it should be useless to me. If that were the design, it succeeded. I found Simon Wheeler dozing comfortably by the barroom stove at Dilly Dappled Tavern in the decaying mining camp of Angels, and I noticed that he was fat and bald-headed, and had an exasperation of winning gentleness and simplicity upon his tranquil countenance. He roused up and gave me good day, and I told him a friend had commissioned me to make some inquiries about a cherished companion of his boyhood named Leonidas W. Smiley. Rev. Leonidas W. Smiley, a young minister of the gospel who he had heard was at one time a resident of Angel's Camp. I added that if Mr. Wheeler could tell me anything about this Reverend Leonidas W. Smiley, I would feel under many obligations to him. Well, Simon Wheeler backed me into a corner and blocked me bare with his chair, and then sat down and reeled off the monotonous narrative which follows this paragraph. He never smiled, he never frowned, he never changed his voice from the gentle flowing key to which he turned his entire sentence. He never betrayed the slightest suspicion of enthusiasm, but that so far from his imagination there was anything ridiculous or funny about his story, he regarded as a real important matter, and admired its two heroes as men of transcendent genius and finesse. I let him go on in his own way, and never interrupted him once. Reverend Leonidas W. Reverend Lee Well, there was a feller here once by the name of Jim Smiley. In the winter of 49, or maybe it was in the spring of 50. I don't recall exactly somehow, but though what makes me think it was on one or the other is because I remember the big flumes weren't finished when he first came to the camp. But anyway, he was the curiousest man about it, always betting on anything that turned up you ever seen. If he could get anybody to bet on the other side, and if he couldn't, he'd change sides. Anyway, that suited the other man would suit him. Anyway, just so he got a bet. Well, he was satisfied, but still he was lucky, uncommonly lucky. He most always came out a winner. He was always ready and laying for a chance. There couldn't be no solitary thing mentioned but that feller offered to bet on it, and take any side you pleased, as I was telling you. Now, if there was a horse race, you'd find him flush, or you'd find him busted at the end of it. If there was a dog fight, he'd bet on it. If there was a cat fight, he'd bet on it. If there was a chicken fight, he'd bet on it. Why, if there was two birds sitting on a fence, he would bet you which one would fly first. Or if there was a camp meeting, he would be there regular to bet on Parson Walker, which he judged to be the best exhorter about here. And he was too, and a good man. If he ever seen a straddled bug started to go anywheres, he would bet you how long it would take him to get to wherever he was going to. And if you took him up, he would follow that straddled bug to Mexico. But what he would find out where he was bound for and how long he was on the road. Now, lots of the boys here seen that Smiley and can tell you about him and why it never made no difference to him. He'd bet on anything that the dangest feller. He was the dangest feller. Parson Walker's wife laid very sick once for a good while, and it seemed as if they weren't going to save her. But one morning he come in, and Smiley up and asked him how she was, and he said she was considerable better. Thank the Lord for His infinite mercy, and coming on so smart that was the blessings of Providence that she got well yet. And Smiley, before he could thought, says, "Well, I risk you 2.5 that she don't anyway." Yes, sure, right there. Smiley had a mare. The boys called her the 15-minute nag. But that was only in fun, because of course she was faster than that. And he used to win money on that horse. For all she was so slow and always had this asthma, or the distemper, or the consumption, or something of that kind. Now, they used to give her 200 or 300 yard starts, and then pass her underway. But always at the flag end of the race, she'd get excited and desperate like, and come cultivating and a-strandling up and a-scattering her legs around limber, and sometimes in the air and sometimes out onto one side amongst the fences, and kicking up more and dust and raising more racket with her coughing and sneezing and blowing her nose, and always fetching up at the stand just about a neck ahead and as near as you could chirp it down. And he had a little small bull pub that to look at him you'd think he weren't worth a cent, but to sit around and look ornery and lay for a chance to steal something. But as soon as money was up on him, he was a different dog. His underjaw began to stick out like the forecastle of a steamboat, and his teeth would uncover and shine like the furnaces, and a dog might tackle him and bullyrag him and bite him and throw him over his shoulder 2 or 3 times, and Andrew Jackson, which was the name of the pup, Andrew Jackson would never let on but what he was satisfied and hadn't expected nothing else, and money was all up. And then all of a sudden he would grab that other dog just as by the gent of his hind leg and freeze to it and not chaw. You understand, but only just grip and hang on till they threw up the sponge. If it was a year, Smiley always came out winner on that pup, till he harnessed a dog once that didn't have no hind leg, because they'd been sawed off in a circular saw accident. And when the thing had gone along far enough, and the money was all up, and he come to make a snatch for his pet halt, he see in a minute how he was imposed on, and how the other dog had hit him in the door, so to speak. And he appeared surprised, and then he looked sort of discouraged like, and didn't try to no more to win the fight. And so he got sucked out bad. He gave Smiley a look, as much as to say his wire was broke, his heart was broke, and it was his fault for putting up a dog that hadn't no hind legs for him to take a holt of, which was his main defense of fight. And then he limped off a piece and lay down and died. It was a good pup, and was the Andrew Jackson, and would have made a name for himself if he'd lived. For the stuff was in him, and he had genius. I know it, because he hadn't no opportunities to speak of, and if it don't stand to reason that a dog could make such a fight as he could under them circumstances, as if he had not no talent. It always makes me feel sorry when I think of that fight of his'n and the way it turned out. Well then now this here Smiley had rat terriers and chicken cocks and tomcats and all of them kind of things, until you couldn't rest, and you couldn't fetch nothing for him to bet on, but he'd match you. He'd hitched a frog one day, and it took him home, and he said he could calculated to execute him, and so he never done nothing for 3 months but sat in his backyard and learned that frog to jump. And you bet that he did it. And you'd bet he did learn to jump. That's right. He'd give him a little punch behind the next minute, and he'd set that frog a-whirling in the air like a donut. See him turn one somersault, or maybe a couple, if he got a good start, and come down flat-toed and all right, like a cat. Well, he got him up so in the matter of catching flies and keeping them in practice, so content that he'd nail a fly every time as far as he could see him. And Smiley said all a frog wanted was education, and could do most anything. And I believed him. Why should I doubt him? Sorry, here we go again. Well, he got him up so matter. Smiley said that all a frog wanted was execution by eternity, I believed him. Why? I've seen him. Okay. Trying to find my place, folks. Sorry. Flies don't flies. And quicken. You could wink. He'd spring straight up and snake a fly off on the counter where it and flop down on the floor again, as solid as a gob of mud, and fall to snatching the side of his head with his hind feet, as indifferent as if he had no idea he'd been doing any more of it. And any frog might do, you know. You never seen a frog and you've never really seen a frog with mud. Okay, folks. Sorry here. So you just never knew what that frog might do. Well,
say what?
On that level ground was his strong suit. You understand. And when it comes to that, Smiley would...
Can you mind if I interrupt you, dude? You
What?
sound like you're drunk. You're reading very slurred and very slow.
And so Smiley would ant up money on him as long as he had a red. Now Smiley was monstrous proud of his frog, and well, he might be for fellers that, and well, might be for fellers that there had traveled and been everywhere. All said he laid over any frog that ever they seen. Well, Smiley kept the beat and kept the best in his little electric box, and the beast in his little electric box, and he used to fetch him downtown sometimes and lay for a bet. And one day, a stranger in the camp, he was a-coming across him in his box and says, "What might be you having there in your box?" And Smiley says, sort of indifferent like, "It might be a parrot, or it might be a canary. Maybe if it ain't, it's only just a frog." And the feller looked at it, and he looked at it careful, and turned it around this way, and then he says, "So 'tis. Well, what is he good for?" Well, Smiley says, easy and careless, "He's good enough. For one thing, I should judge he can outjump any frog in Calvert County." Well, the feller looked at the box again, and looked at another long, particular look, and gave it back to Smiley, and says, very deliberately, "Well," he says, "I didn't see no pence about that frog, and that's any better than any other frog." "Well, maybe you don't," Smiley says, "and maybe you understand frogs, and maybe you don't understand them. Maybe you had an experience, and maybe you ain't only an amateur. As it were, always, I got my opinion, and I'll risk $40 that he can outjump any frog in Calvert County." And the feller studied a minute, and then he says, kinder, and sad like, "Well, I'm only a stranger here, and I ain't got no frog, but if I had a frog, I'd bet you. And then Smiley says, that's all right. That's all right. If you'll hold my box a minute, I'll go and I'll get you a frog. And so the feller took the box and he put up his $40 along with Smiley's, and he sat down to wait. Now, so he sat there a good while, thinking to himself, and then he got the frog out and pies his mouth open and took a teaspoon and filled him with a quail shot, filled him pretty near up to his chin, and set him on the floor. While Smiley, he went to the swamp, and he slopped around in the mud for a long time, and finally he catched a frog and fetched him in and gave him to the feller and says, now, if you're ready, set him alongside a Daniel, and with his forepaws just even with Daniel's, and I'll give the word. And then he says, 1, 2, 3, get! And him and the feller touched up the frogs from behind, and the new frog hopped off lively, but Daniel didn't even give a heave and hastened up his shoulders so like a Frenchman. But it weren't no use. He couldn't budge. He was plant so as solid as a church, and he couldn't no more stir than if he wasn't anchored out. And Smiley was a good deal surprised, and he was disgusted too. But he didn't have no idea what the matter was, of course. Well, that feller took the money and he started away. And when he was going out at the door, he sort of jerked his thumb over his shoulder and said, so at Daniel, and said again, very deliberately, well, he says, I don't see no pants about that frog, and that's any bettin' any other frog. Smiley, he stood scratching his head and looked down at Daniel a long time, and at last he says, I do wonder what in the tarnation that frog throwed off for. I wondered if there ain't something the matter with him. So he appears to look baggy somehow, and he's catched Daniel up in the nape of the neck, and he hefted up and says, why, blimey, my cats, if he don't weigh 5 pounds. And he turned him upside down, and he belched out a double handful of shot. And then he sees how it was, and he was the maddest man. He sets that frog down, and he took out after that feller, but he never catched him. And, well, here Simon Wheeler heard his name called from the front yard, and he got up to see what was wanted. And turning to me as he moved away, he said, just sit where you are, stranger, and rest easy. I ain't going to be gone a second. But, by your leave, I did not think that a continuation of the history of the enterprising vagabond Jim Smiley would be likely to afford me such information concerning the Reverend Lesendale W. Smiley. And so I started away at the door, and I met the sociable Wheeler returning, and he buttonholed me and recommended me. And well, this year fella Smiley had a yaller one-eyed cow that didn't have no tail, only just a short stump like a banner. and however, lacking both time and inclination, I did not wait to hear about the afflicted cow, but to my leave. I took my leave. And so there you have it, folks. That was the jumping frog, the celebrated jumping frog of Calaveras County. Alright, well, if it sounded bad, well, it was. That's because I was trying to do it like the guy done it, and I don't know. Alrighty then, hey, it looks like it's time for our portion of the program called Our Daily Bread. And Our Daily Bread is going to be brought to you today by The Bible with Briscoe 2021. The Bible with Briscoe 2021 is a daily reading of the Bible to be completed within 1 year. Today's reading will be 1 Chronicles 16 through 18 and John 7, 28 through 53. So don't forget to tune into the Bible with Briscoe 2021 for your daily reading of the Bible. Now, let's see. Today's devotion in the Daily Bread portion of the program is going to be water where we need it. And so we're going to be reading John 4, 7 through 14. When a Samaritan woman came to draw water, Jesus said to her, "Will you give me a drink?" And his disciples had gone into town to buy food. Well, the Samaritan woman said to him, "You are a Jew, and I am a Samaritan woman. How can you ask me for a drink? For Jews do not associate with Samaritans." And Jesus answered her, "If you knew the gift of God and who it is that asks you for a drink, you would have asked him, and he would have given you living waters." "Sir," the woman said, "you have nothing to draw with, and that well is deep. Where can you get this living water? Are you greater than our father Jacob, who gave us the well, and drank from it himself, and did also his sons and his livestock?" And Jesus answered, "Everyone who drinks this water will be thirsty again. But whoever so drinks of the water I give them will never thirst. Indeed, the water I give them will become in them a spring of water welling up to eternal life." And there you have it, my friends. That was John 4, 7 through 14. Alright then, that's the Daily Bread portion of the Bible. The Daily Bread portion of the program that was brought to you by The Bible with Briscoe 2021, a daily reading of the Bible to be completed within 1 year. Don't forget to tune into The Bible with Briscoe 2021 for your daily reading of the Bible. Alright, my friends, hey, that looks like the end of the Shen Show for me. Hi, thank you for tuning in, and as always, you know, I got one more song for you, and it goes like this. Well, goodbye, my friends, it's time to go. I said goodbye, my friends, it's time to go. I hate to leave you, but I really must go. So goodbye, my friends, goodbye. This here has been Shenandoah Briscoe saying hello and how are you? Thanks for tuning in to the Shen Show, and as always, you know, God loves you and so do I. So come back and see me tomorrow because, well, hey, I'll be here, and I hope that you are too.